let's call to order. We do have a quorum, I think, right? One, two, I think we've got four. And we got to get this meeting over so we can watch the Yukon women.
Yep, we have 5 people.
Okay, good. All right, so let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, excellent. All right, well, thank you those of you who have arrived, and anybody else who's coming late can catch up. I think we've got at least, we have 5, you said?
Yes.
Okay, good. So the first order of business is to review and approve the minutes of the last meeting, February 28th. And I have a couple of minor comments, which I'll throw out because nobody else ever really has any. On page 2, we were talking about the cogen unit at the pool, and Dave mentioned that the current operating rate was below expectations. On the second line under item 6A1, where it says the current operating rate of the cogeneration unit, which is still not operating at its maximum efficiency. That's not technically, I don't think that's what Dave is really saying. I think the unit is operating efficiently, but it's not being used as utilized, right? So, in other words, it's not a productive project. Productivity is the product of efficiency and utilization. So I guess an example would be you could have a light bulb that's inefficient, or you could have a light bulb that's efficient in a closet, and if it doesn't get used, it's not very productive to change it to an efficient light bulb. This unit here apparently is not being utilized the way we projected it should be. And so Dave, you want to maybe bring us up to speed on what you've discussed with Aegis and Sheila?
Well, at our last meeting, we discussed this, and I've rechecked it this month, and from May to October, the unit was operating at about 96% efficiency, or operational capacity, and by that I mean the amount of natural gas that was pumped into that system that was converted into electricity and energy. From October to this past January, through January, the operating rate is about 38%.
Okay, utilization 38%.
Utilization, and the issue is a command control issue. I've discussed it with Aegis. I've discussed it with our guy, and
okay, hold just
see,
I kind of let this get away from me. I think we need to finish reviewing the minutes, and then we can
okay,
circle
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, so but that is the point that you were trying to make last month, is that the utilization was down, not the efficiency.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right, and then let's go to further in that paragraph, just a small, I think it's a typo. It says that the savings, that the second line up from the bottom of paragraph 1, the savings could be as much as $40. Or
Oh, yeah, 40,000.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And then on page 3, item E, PBC projects, it says Quinnipiac Park bathroom renovation project, but there's nothing stated under that. So it's either we didn't talk about it,
Okay.
or I don't remember exactly what. I don't think we probably should just say no new updates were provided. On page 4, I read this a few times under section I, school modernization. Fifth line down, or actually the fourth line says, Mr. Smith suggested that the Energy Commission may want to consider meeting with the town council for 15 minutes 2 times each year. I don't know if that's what he really said. Not quite sure what that would accomplish. 15 minutes 2 times a year. Maybe, does anybody recall exactly what he did say? I think what he was trying to say is that we should appear before the council periodically,
Right.
to talk about energy efficiency issues, but I don't know about, does anybody have any clarification to 15 minutes 2 times a year?
Well, I think he wants to become more political than, if I just rechecked our charter, on the town website, and it says our duty is to educate the citizenry about energy, basically.
Yeah,
And in my experience, it's been much more than that. In fact, that's probably one of our failings, is maybe not the greatest educators, but
sure.
as far as implement energy saving projects and moving forward with stuff like that, we've been much better.
Yeah, I agree. But what does that have to do with meeting with the council?
Well, because I don't think he believes the council is on board with what the objectives of the commission should be.
Okay, I think what I'll do is we should just leave that there. It's probably not.
Well, I can just summarize it to be meet with town council periodically throughout the year.
Yeah, okay. Okay, to make sure that they know what we're doing and whatever. Okay, is there any other comments or questions or suggestions on the minutes?
Well, I thought Dan's letter was, excellent, and
Oh, that's not in the minutes.
from an educational and what we're about was great.
I agree, but we're trying to get these minutes approved.
Okay.
Any further comments on the minutes? Walt, Dan, Ryan, good. I'd like a motion to accept them as amended. Let's see.
I accept.
Who's Dave?
Yeah.
Okay, and a second?
Ryan, second that.
Okay, Ryan, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so delving into the agenda for this month, under communications, item 5, I indicated here that we had I received a thank you note from Matt Planetta. Mr. Planetta is the den leader for the Cub Scout Pack 114 out of Highland School, and he expressed his appreciation for our having them attend last month's meeting, discussing energy in general. And I responded to him that I think it might be a good idea if they would approach us again once they've achieved their merit badges and let us know, how it went, what did they identify as a problem, and some solutions. Okay, and old business number 6, energy efficiency projects, standing item. And Dave, did you want to elaborate any further on the operating rate at the pool?
Well, as I said, it's just about operating about half capacity, actually less than half capacity. And it seems like, looking at it historically, once the pool becomes dependent on the operation of the big boiler, it sort of cuts out the efficiency or the use of the cogeneration unit. The thing was designed, I hate to get back historically, but about 15 years ago, we had an outage in the pool where the boiler failed, and White Bowman happened to have a huge boiler in stock, which they put in there, which is more capacity than it really needed. But so that's in there. And then when we upgraded the pool, the last time we put a boiler, which was probably about a third the capacity of that big one, that could handle most everything except when you had to bring cold water up to room temperature when you refilled the pool. But for some reason, the small boiler has been going out of service. The big boiler has taken on control, and the cogeneration unit, in my opinion, is not geared or optimized to operate with that big boiler. That's my thing. And I don't know where Aegis is on that, or with the town, or who's running the boiler at the pool. And I know, Sheila is not an engineer. She can't. That shouldn't be her job. So somebody on the technical side of the town should be working with Aegis to straighten that out.
Okay, Dan Bombaro, what say you?
I will say, to Dave's point, and I think I briefed the group previously on similar terms of the big boiler taking over when the small boiler failed. It was something that was recognized. Unfortunately, the smaller boiler has gone down in the last 2 years on a couple of occasions with failures of different parts. Last of it was another card that had gone on it. Chip shortages and such of that nature caused it to be down for a longer duration, in which the larger boiler was running lead. With that, like Dave said, there's communication issues. In the last month, from the 6th of March forward, the unit has been running on par with what the expectations are. Several days, pushing 10 days, it appears, where it was running 24 hours a day with 0 shutoffs. So again, it's a recognized issue there. Aegis is aware of where the issue is. It's a matter of them making some resolve in the communications with the larger boiler, if at all even possible. Unfortunately, one of the gentlemen that had been kind of leading for Aegis just left, so there's some new faces that we're starting to see on that side.
So you said that it's been running since March 6th, as it was expected to run. What happened to enable that?
I think a combination in and around that time. I think it was a midpoint of last month, actually. The other boiler came online, and it appears that they had some good days followed by some bad. And then since the 6th, again, it's been running full steam. I do plan to convene on them to see what it is that happened on that day. I haven't had the opportunity as of yet.
Okay, so as we're
My only question, Dan, is who is in charge of operating those boilers at maximum efficiency?
That's a function of the pool.
But that's not Sheila's job. So this engineer,
she has a building attendant, and if the building attendant wasn't someone that is capable, that would be something that was contracted out by the pool and the recreations department.
Is it Matt Bowman? Is it a contract?
I couldn't speak to that.
Because does this person report to Sheila or to the Park and Rec, or?
Again, it would be if they needed service on the units, they would likely hire somebody to come in and maintain them.
Well, Sheila's a friend of mine, and I'm not going to get in a, she obviously, just like me, she is not capable of optimizing those boilers, or just like probably anybody on this board right now. But somebody should be able to do that. If we have to pay $5,000 to correct a $25,000 a year problem, we should do it.
Right. They have building controls company that comes in. I believe that was one of the buildings that was included in the earlier energy audits and retrofit with certain equipment, for maintenance and optimization of that equipment, again, I would assume that they use one of the contractors that's used by the town side, but again, can't speak to it directly.
I'm going to send an email.
We should contact Sheila.
I'll do that, Dave.
If we can get that problem resolved.
I will send an email to Sheila and John Golick asking them,
I mean, I pay, I pay about 10,000 or more taxes a year. And I hate to blow $20,000 a year on something that's correctable,
Yeah. Okay. Dan Bonbaro, do you have anything to talk about the concession stand there at Bartlett Park?
I'll convene with our staff on that as we get into the spring season, see if they found anything out with that.
Okay. On item 6B, benchmarking, database input and maintenance to the portfolio manager. Chris Smith sent a note out earlier today or yesterday saying that he was caught up.
Correct.
Do you agree? Okay, good. All right. Since he's not on the call, there's no point in talking too much about the new cost savings opportunities unless, Dave, you were working or supposed to be working with Chris Smith on that. Do you have anything to report?
Well, I just had an idea, and Walt Gillespie actually sort of hit on it. It's a wild ass idea, but I said, what if the town working with a university or a company like the electric car company or somebody this includes ground geothermal, solar, the whole works, and make a study of it and get grants to fund that. I mean, that would be something. I think it could be a positive looking forward to the community and to the state of the art, so to speak. But I don't know how. I don't know. Well, I would have ideas on how to do that, but it's the type of project that, if I was a younger kid, I'd be really interested in pushing forward, working with UConn and Tesla and even the utility companies to say, okay, what would a real net zero engineered building in Cheshire look like? We have its past history. We could monitor looking forward. It could be a great study, and it would probably save us money long term. But it's a bold idea, but just a thought.
It's not too far off the wall. Brian O'Grady might have a net zero house. What do you say, Brian? Are you still there? Brian?
I'm still there, yeah.
You-
I doubt that my house is net zero.
Is it
I
close?
consume quite a lot of power.
But
Do you
this
do it?
this would also include, even though they're maybe not eco-friendly right now, including storage capability, so that like if you had to put the whole parking lot of the library under solar sheds, so to speak, and dig a geo well and put in heat pumps, ground-based heat pumps, and monitor it very carefully and scientifically. Something like, or somebody's house.
Seems
So
like
Ryan-
the school modernization project is an opportunity there for exactly that.
It is exactly, if you can convince them to go that route. But if we took a smaller thing, you probably could do that at the library. I mean, it would cost money, but you'd have to look for grants, federal grants, state grants, utility grants, just for the geothermal. But if you run up the whole cost and make it a study and get a university involved, you probably could do it. Or do it with somebody's house even, or a couple of houses.
I'll volunteer my house.
Of course, they may be in some invasion of privacy, but.
Yeah,
It's a wild idea, other ideas, as far as, educating the public on, using solar. I mean, we did some of that, in the last 10 years. It seems like the private market is taking that over pretty actively on the internet right now. And I don't think geothermal, last time I had a conversation with Jimmy Seaman was 8 or 9 years ago, and he said, well, geothermal, it looks cool if on a original construction, but not retrofit. But maybe that's changed now.
Yeah. Okay, so I think what you're saying is that you'd like to see a pilot program where we would take a town building and conduct a study as to what it would cost to make it net zero. But making it net zero implies some kind of solar generation. But
Rich, what you have to do is you have to look at a building, and we know what energy it uses historically, right? So we know.
Yep.
You'd have to take this building, figure out what its thermal envelope is, how that can be improved, and then put solar on it.
Sure.
Roof insulation can usually be improved on a flat roof building when you're putting the next roof on with a small marginal cost. Figuring out if it's strong enough for solar panels, but I would think the library would have a low energy footprint. It's only open during business hours. There's no hot water usage there, so that would be a good candidate, I would think, to go net zero. But you'd have to look at each building like that. So it'd have to be a study, a physical plant. Can you put more insulation in it? I think can the utilities be replaced with an all-electric heat pump? That's a big deal in a lot of these buildings.
Yeah.
And put a lot of solar on it and get there.
But there's a lot of activity right now on air fed heat pumps. The Mitsubishi stuff. You see a lot of people in town for rec rooms in their basements and stuff moving to that type of option.
Yeah.
Yep.
One other point, that house on Wolf Hill Road, I finally tested, and that came out with a HERS rating of like 5. So that's basically a net zero house that guy built there.
Where's this?
Wolf Hill Road. It's that new house, 944, I think. When you're going up the hill at the start of Wolf Hill Road, you clear the crest of the hill, it's on the right. It's a brown 2-story house on a front lot.
I can't picture where it was. I used to live on Wolf Hill Road, but probably left there before this house was built.
But
Yeah, it's before you get to Redstone.
The cost gap now probably is energy storage, batteries. Now, battery technology is getting better and better and better.
Yeah, well, we happen to have an expert on that, right, Ryan?
Yeah,
Aren't
I
you
haven't
a
even
school?
the batteries. They're going back up in price. In September, it was $17,000 for 20 kilowatts, and in January it was $23,000 for 20 kilowatts of storage.
Yeah, that's the lithium market, and this political stuff that's going on right now, I think, in China. And
So,
everything's going
Ryan-
up, I guess.
Ryan, did you get a wall, a battery wall, or a Tesla?
It's
What do you
not,
call it?
doesn't make sense economically right now.
You looked at it though.
I look at it every couple months.
Okay.
But people are doing it, and the technology is available. And battery technology, if it moves even through lithium ion to something else. I remember 20, 30 years ago, people were digging holes in the ground and putting magnesium sulfide salt solution in there and just storing energy on crystallization transfer overnight, stuff like that. But that's not the route to go. It's all in the chemistry right now.
Correct, and it'll get more affordable as time goes on, just like solar panels have gotten
Yeah.
more affordable over the last 10 years. Okay, we've got to move along. Let's go to Chris needs, we need to talk to Chris about this spreadsheet. I guess he was going to put something together. Oh, okay. So then let's talk Dan Knutson about the on item number H, Coalition for Sustainable Cheshire, benchmarking and tracking energy use to achieve silver status for
Yeah.
sustainable Cheshire. Yeah,
Um,
bring us up to speed.
I did meet with Fiona and they're trying to put together some things here in early April, but then the real deadline they're thinking for applying for silver would be in August, which means we'd have to have stuff to them in July. And she did give us that list that with all the different things that the town can do, and what she asked us to focus on was doing the portfolio manager and tracking energy use of the municipal Board of Education buildings.
Yep.
And then also the waste treatment plants. Each of those are 5 points. But you have, in order to get those points, you have to submit a report in that portfolio manager. She suggested getting back in touch with Amy Thompson, and if we needed help, because Amy understands what it takes to get silver status and knows exactly the reports that would work.
Okay, well, the email that you sent out that included the report that Glastonbury had submitted looks like it comes right out of Portfolio Manager.
Oh yeah, it does.
And we ought to be able to do that with the push of a button, if you know what button to push.
Yeah.
Does anybody, Dave, Gavin, do you know how to get that report?
Yeah,
Dan Bombaro.
we asked Amy Thompson to get on board.
Dan Bombaro, come on, you know how to do this report, right?
I haven't looked at the report that he generated, and I like Dave's idea. I'm sure I'm sure Amy would be willing to help the group. She was always a good source when we were getting to the finish line on launching everything that we have to date, and I'm sure she's got a group of new students that she's training.
Okay, can you give me or get me her email address and I'll send her a note?
Yeah.
I'd like to also talk to her about the model home experiment.
Model home?
Well, the model facility. I think that, yes, they probably exist, but I mean, from a marketing viewpoint, I don't know what it costs. I haven't the vaguest idea. I mean, exclusive of all the building surface retrofits, just putting in the solar panels and the heat pumps and some form of storage. I know it'd be a capital dollar, but it'd be interesting to see what it would be. Maybe they could tell us. Amy could.
Okay, but you've got me a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I'm jumping around.
confused.
Yeah,
No, I mean, what's the model home? Where did that come from?
I just made it up.
Are you
Okay.
talking about the library?
Yeah,
The library,
model library.
right, that you wanted to do a net zero facility.
Yeah, or it could be the Yellow House, I don't know.
Oh,
If we could get a lead silver for one municipal or Board of Education building, that would go a long way towards getting silver status for the town as a whole.
Yeah. And we actually, Dan, if you will go back, we actually looked at geothermal, I think, for the Park and Rec building, near the tennis courts. And I guess it didn't figure out at that point. But I'm almost positive we looked at it. This is only about 5 years ago. Ask your boss. I bet you he remembers.
You mean before, in connection with the performance contract that Amoresco did?
Yeah, and we had to put new boilers into that. That
Yeah.
where the tennis courts are.
Yeah,
The
that's
Park and Rec building.
Leonard, Harmon Leonard.
Yeah, right. And
Duke,
and I think they evaluated geothermal.
Okay, well, that's interesting, but I don't think it's something we need to get
Right, no.
sidetracked with here.
No.
Okay, so Amy Thompson's email address, you're gonna get for me, right? And forget the model house for now.
Right.
You threw me for a loop there. Okay.
Well,
All right. So, yeah, okay. Okay. That's
I
good.
have that capability sometimes.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Now, on the next
Amy?
item,
well, can I finish? Fiona wanted to mention to everybody that that they are sponsoring a repair clinic on April 9th.
a
And
repair clinic.
yeah, where they got some volunteers. So if you can bring something that's broken, or needs mending, and they'll work on it.
Can I bring my heart? It's broken.
Yeah. A
I
repair
bet you
clinic.
can, and you go to the booth that says 5 cents for.
I saw that. I was in the Cheshire Herald. If you
Yeah.
bring in things like a non-working blower fan or something like that.
Okay. Before we move off of the that portfolio manager silver status topic, I looked through the Glastonbury information that you sent out earlier today, Dan, and I noticed that in their spreadsheet, the so-called report, that their Energy Star ratings were pretty low. I mean, I don't know how I couldn't go back, take the time to compare them to ours, but they've got, most of their buildings are in the, looks like 30-40% range. How does that jive with what your memory is of what our numbers are, Dave, Gavin?
Well, I'd say about half of our schools were above the 70% limit. But then there was I think Amy Thompson said there was a recalculation of how to do that calculation. So I'm not sure we're updated now, but
Yeah.
some things that have been very good in the last 5-10 years. But
Action item 7.3 says if you achieve a score of 75 or above for at least one municipal building, that can get a lot of points.
Do you have that spreadsheet in front of you, Dan, that shows what their EPA scores are? There's a column on that spreadsheet that has their Energy Star ratings. Do you have that in front of you?
yeah, I think you'll see Norton School is above it, and
No, Glastonbury's numbers.
oh, Glastonbury. I was
It's
thinking of our own.
column L. You want me to read them
Yeah.
out?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you can scan them down. Aren't they pretty low?
60s, 30s, 20s. Yeah, a lot of 30s and 20s.
Yeah.
I'd say median's probably like 35.
that's not that great. Now, before I get too critical about Glastonbury, what are our numbers? I mean, I think they're higher than that, aren't they?
Yeah, everything except, the surprising one is Highland is not that good. But the reason Highland's not that good because we went from electric to thermal, but we put in air conditioning too. So
Okay, well, air conditioning is the way it's going to be from now on, so just got to get used to that. Okay, all right. How about section I, school modernization? We talked a lot about that in previous meetings, and Dan Knutson issued a draft letter today to everybody. Dan, did you see my comments when I sent it back?
I did.
I guess I might have gotten carried away a little bit, but I would encourage everybody to submit their comments. Is Dave Gavin, Ryan O'Grady, Walt Gajewski, did you have an opportunity to go through that letter and make any comments?
yeah, I thought it was very good.
I read it. I
You
didn't make any comments on it.
Did you read my edits or Dan's original draft?
The one I read had a lot of red on it. Was that your
Yeah,
edit?
that was mine. Okay. All right. Well,
Was it,
again,
grammar or was it short? Yeah, making it shorter or
no, I probably made it longer, but it's not my letter. I mean, I want everybody to contribute, and I think that we need to do a little fact checking as well, Dan Knutson.
What fact are you?
Well, I'm not saying that your facts are wrong. I just want to make sure that they're right before we publish them in a newspaper. For example, can net zero schools really save 60 to 85% of the energy or whatever? I thought whatever the I don't know where those numbers came from, for example.
I should have cited them, but I got them off the I think it was the one that Dave the one that Dave emailed I think it was the Department of Energy.
Yeah. The only one I had a question about was, Dan, was you said that was the second most costly item next to salaries.
Right, that's another one that I was going to say.
So I mean, you have to be able to. Somebody's going to ask you, where'd you get that from?
Yeah, I should have cited them. I got it off the web.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you have, I mean, if
So,
you didn't
if
just
it's
pull numbers
citable,
out
that's
of the air,
okay.
Yeah.
You can speak for
Yeah.
me anytime, Dan. As long as
Okay.
it's right.
Don't make a mistake.
All right. So,
Um,
I just think that we need, again, you can do what you want with my comments. I think most of them are valid, but there may be some that aren't, or that you'd rather not see. It needs to be, and that's me, that's my analytical mind putting stuff on paper, but ultimately, at the end of the day, whatever we publish has to be geared towards the average citizen, right? Right? I mean, who are probably not very energy educated, let's say, except that they know that they pay X dollars a month for their electric bill, let's say.
Yeah, I
or their
thought
gas
Dan
bill.
made a point of that, though. I mean, he was saying, your tax bill and stuff like that. And
I liked that. I liked that opening, especially the headline that said the cheapest first cost construction could lead to increased taxes. And I think you're right. I don't know how much the Cheshire public really understands that or why, let's say. And I think the letter kind of does a pretty decent job of explaining why. If we don't publish something like that, and I think Tim White's comments were justified too, that and Dave earlier, I think you were saying that we're not doing a good enough job of reaching the public and educating them on such things. And that's one of our responsibilities, is to act as an educator in energy matters.
Yeah, the two things that strike me in the last year as far as town is, one of them was the increase in Eversource's delivery rates.
Yeah.
This is going by the forum, but the much bigger one was the cost of cable television.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about the, I don't know, my cable, not cable television, but my internet, my Cox internet.
Yeah, but that type of thing. Yeah,
But it's not just the cost, it's the reliability.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you guys are, but my Cox internet service is really poor.
Filed an FCC complaint against them, and they did a bunch of stuff and rewired stuff and put amplifiers in and tested everything's been better.
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
If our council representative is in charge of public relations for Cox.
Yeah. Right. Peter.
If he ever shows up for one of our meetings, we discuss it.
Yeah, see, now I've got a mesh Wi-Fi system in my house, and it's an Eero, EERO, which I installed last year sometime, and it was working great. Lately, over the last 6 months or so, the televisions skip and freeze and bump, and it's terrible. So I call Eero and try to get them to troubleshoot the problem. Now, the problem is that you've got an internet service provider, in this case, Cox. You've got the modem, you got the Eero router, and you got the devices. You don't know what in the heck's the problem. Maybe it's the televisions, maybe it's the Eero, maybe it's the so he says, well, who's your cable provider or your internet provider? I said, Cox. Have you ever heard of him? Now, he's out in Las Vegas. He goes, yeah, I heard of him. He said, the worst I've ever dealt with. Now, you know, they're bad all over the country, not just here in Connecticut.
Yeah.
But maybe I can get a copy of the letter that you filed to the FCC, Ryan. I'll file it too.
It's a very easy form. You just go online.
Really?
Super easy. Yep. And you'll get a call back from like an executive resolution guy.
From Cox or from the Pura?
From Cox.
From Cox. Get it online, you say? Where? What?
Just Google FCC complaint form.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm.
Takes like 2 minutes to fill out.
And they always say, well, it's streaming speed, you know, and then they say Frontier's even worse than Cox. So.
Well, you know, people say Frontier's better, and Frontier's got the
Fiber optic, I guess.
the fiber optic system.
But
and then
do they have fiber optic in the town?
Yeah, some people do apparently. It's, I don't know. It's so frustrating, and I can't figure it out. I don't know if is it the bandwidth that's the problem, or is it the latency? Do you know, Ryan? You seem to know a lot about it. I've got this
could be
ping
any-
software. I got
How many
ping software.
devices?
Well, I got 26 devices that are
I mean,
connected.
I have 85 on my network,
and
and it's fine with the
it's
Gigablast.
fine.
Yeah.
And what do you use for Wi-Fi? Do you have a mesh Wi-Fi, or do you have like a?
I have a little bit more advanced stuff than that. I have like a Ubiquiti system with a bunch of access points that I put wherever I want them, but it's all, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's much, much more expensive.
Yeah. But do you stream a lot of TV? Do you stream
Stream a lot.
TV?
I'm on unlimited data plan.
But you don't have cable television.
I do have cable television.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, my bill's $275 a month.
Mine's 290, and then I don't use any of it.
Yeah, mine was 3 something, and I got rid of the cable television. I just stream
Yeah.
with the
That's all.
Fire Stick TV, and
Yeah, my
no.
only problem is I can't get the Yankee game on any
no,
streaming
yeah,
device.
you're not
You can
alone.
get them on YouTube TV.
No,
Yeah.
you can't. Not live.
Get the Red
It's the-
Sox real easy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back on track. So, let's kind of wrap up that letter. What does the group want or think we should do with the letter that Dan Knutson drafted? and I butchered.
Yeah,
What are-
I read it. I think it looks good. The last paragraph is all crossed off. So you really needs a little work in the last paragraph.
The last paragraph is crossed off.
Who crossed it off?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I did, but
I make a motion that, that Rich and Dan get together and finalize it and.
finalize it. Okay. Now, where do you think it should be published and when? And do we need permission from the council?
Permission from.
Much
oh,
easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
You're right. I agree with that. But anyway, where do you think it should be published?
At the Herald
be-
and the Meriden paper?
Should it be a letter to the editor?
I would say so, yes.
A letter to the editor, Cheshire Herald? Who
Mhm.
knows somebody at Cheshire Herald? You, Dan, right?
Yeah, there's a woman reporter that is good to work with. I did just check the YouTube TV, and Dave, you can get the Yankees. It says you have to pay for that service, but it's
Well, I
a lot
paid,
cheaper than
but-
cable.
Really? Live? You can get them live?
Yeah, and you can
Okay.
record it.
Okay,
Rich, I'd recommend that you could also post that on the Cheshire Forum.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's kind of lengthy, but maybe a
It's
link
not that
to it?
long.
People read it or they won't. I mean, it's free.
Yeah.
You know that Cheshire Forum's got, like, what, 17,000 people on it?
Tell you 1 second.
Mhm.
A lot.
17.2 thousand. Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably the most read thing, and probably much more than the Herald.
Yeah, we were getting on our last letter. We posted it on there a few times.
Yeah.
That's
I don't think that
Or-
it would have to be, it'd have to be like a synopsis of it though. I mean, a letter like that length, I don't know.
I think it's fine.
All of a sudden,
I
all of a
don't
sudden,
think that's a
the
problem.
critics will come out.
Let
Yeah,
'em know.
You
We-
just
yeah.
don't, you post it and don't read the comments.
Yeah.
Good point. All right, Dan, why don't you and I offline, we'll take it offline, we could maybe polish it up.
Okay, I'm headed to Panama on Sunday,
Well,
Panama.
good luck.
so we could try and get it done before then.
I think the timing is going to be important. You don't want to be too soon and you don't want to be too late. And have they even decided when the referendum is going to be? Is it
November,
November? Is it November?
I think so.
Yeah. I don't see it going out before. So how long are you going to be in Panama?
Most of the month, I got a job. I'm gonna help with like a machine that takes the plastic trash out of the river. It's called the trash water wheel.
Interesting. Okay. No, I don't think it can be done by Sunday. And
Well,
if you're going
mean,
a month,
We could work on it a little bit, and then
Yeah.
you guys can finish it.
okay. All right. The timing though, I think is too early is not going to be good because people are going to say, the referendum is not until November. Why worry about it now? Too late, it's going to be a problem because you want to get people's attention before, and so they can make a decision.
Rich, don't they, to come up with a referendum, don't they need a set of plans?
Yeah, and I think that there's also some steps that have to be taken. I think June, something has to be done by June, so they know how much of a contribution the state would be willing to make on the project. So,
Hey, only one other point, I'm trying to recall the letter, but from a senior citizen viewpoint, I mean, that's probably the make or break thing for this referendum. Did you allude to it as to adding to the property value when you sell your house of a program like this potentially, or? Because that's, the seniors are gonna vote it down, you know that, for the most part, unless they figure there's some advantage to it.
yeah. No, there's nothing in there exactly addressing that. I don't know how we could, I'll make a note of the recommendation.
Not saying how I'm gonna vote, but
I mean, I think most younger kids are really into sustainability. My 30-year-old kid recently said he wants to build a net zero house within the next 5 years. And a bunch of her friends are the same way. So you could argue somehow that having a net energy school in town would be good for future home buyers coming in. That would attract them.
sure,
You
yeah.
know, I don't know if you could prove it, but you could make that argument.
Well, yeah, anything that reduces energy consumption and cost would be good, right, for taxpayers. Okay, let's move along to this new business. SB, I presume, is Senate bill. Who knows, Dan?
Yeah,
Newsom, yeah.
yeah.
423. There's also another one. I don't know if it's 429 or something, but they both address indoor air quality in public buildings. I think this 423 addresses it specifically for public schools. And I don't know what the status is right now. Do you, Dan? There's it somehow or another got approved by the labor committee or something. School. I'm not sure exactly what the status is, although it's what it's saying is that there's a lot of attention being given to ventilation, indoor air quality issues in public buildings. And if you read through that email that I shared with everybody, you'll see that there's some specific requirements that are going to be that they want to impose, such as building temperatures have to be between 68 and 76 or whatever, or you have to close the building. Humidity has to be between 40 and 60%. And then there's obviously the air quality with respect to pathogens and whatever else. A lot of attention being given, and I just wanted to make everybody aware of it. That's why I've got it on here, but can't really address it much more than that.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be a big deal, they already increased the amount of ventilation in school buildings because of the pandemic. I think it probably went up 20-30%. And that's gonna put a big burden on energy costs.
Sure.
So, I mean, so any technology on heat recovery of ventilated air is gonna be important.
Correct. And then lastly, the Dan Knutson, I don't know if you shared this with other commissioners, but Dan had found an article dealing with potential energy savings from converting or replacing a single speed pool pump with a VFD controlled pool pump. And I think, yes, that did. I know that my comments got circulated to everybody because I sent them out, but the link is on the agenda. You can click on that and read more about it. But as far as the pool, our pool, the big pool, we have VFDs on those pumps, right?
I'm almost positive, yeah, because that was one of the points we made, during the new building thing.
Yeah, Dan Bombaro, would you concur that we have VFDs on the pool pumps?
I would expect so, but I wouldn't know exactly.
And this wastewater treatment facility also has VFDs, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay. All right, so maybe, and I think Dan Knutson suggested, well, maybe we should put an article in the paper about that. That'd be one of our outreach efforts, is to, remind pool owners, private pool owners, that they might want to take a look at variable speed drive pumps to save, they do save a lot of, they're very cost effective, very fast payback, and they do save a lot of energy.
I think that would be an important education
Yeah.
outreach, because I mean, most people, if they think about replacing their pool pump, they're like, oh, I should get the big one. That's going to be the best pump for me, a 2.5 horse when, so they're going to use a 2.5 horse and use all that power, and a 1/2 horse would do it.
Right. Right. Do you have a pool?
I do.
Do you have a constant speed pump or a variable speed?
I just opened it last year, yeah, and I used what I had, but I'm gonna look at putting a separate controller on it.
I don't know what percentage of pool owners have constant speed pumps versus variable speed. I mean, I don't know how common it is to have a variable speed pump on a small pool.
I don't think it is. But there are areas of the country where there are rebates, or they're actually, I think most places, there are places that are doing rebates for putting those in, and there are also places, a lot of places that are requiring that only variable speeds go in.
Yeah. Okay.
That and pool covers,
On this ventilation thing, I want to tell you a story. I'm working up at the Dartmouth Graduate Student Housing in New Hampshire. They're building a lot of student housing. There's dormitories, 2 bedrooms. Each room has a private bath, but they have ERVs in them that pull air out of the bathroom and the living areas.
They have what?
ERVs, energy recovery ventilators.
Right.
And they also have a huge ERV on the roof that provides common air to all the common, the 4 floors, the common areas, the hallways, the study rooms, storage lockers, all that stuff. And one of my job was to test the flow going out. And there was a professional balancing guy who came out and showed what the airflow was to each one of these areas. The numbers I was getting were far different. So this crux of the story is, whenever we have this ventilation put into this new building, it really has to be commissioned. Somebody independently has to verify for the town, not for the contractor, what that airflow is. Because if you spend all this money, you want to think the work as designed, and very few people check that. So it's important.
Good point. Should probably put that in our, Dan, you might want to make a note, add commissioning as part of the one of our recommendations for the project, the school projects. Before, I don't want to skip over this update on tree trimming. Is Asplund or anybody else doing tree trimming in Cheshire still?
Asplin's still in town for Eversource. I expect they're going to be in town for a good deal longer. They've been doing a lot of good preventative maintenance work, some backbone work in town, and they were moving the northeast quarter down to the south on the east side of Route 10, and I think they're going to be working on that side for a little bit longer before they move to a couple other targeted locations on the west side of town.
Looks like they're
so
staging
they had 9 trucks at Cheshire Park.
At Cheshire Park. Yep. Right. Okay, that's all I've got. Anybody else have anything? No?
Go Yukon.
Want to see where your power comes from?
Yeah, where? You got something? Where'd he go?
Oh my God. That's a screen.
How come I'm not seeing it?
What?
I'm not seeing anything.
You gotta look at Brian's
Wait, I got to get him on screen. He's out of my 6th
Oh, really?
Oh, there it is. Okay, right.
So Ryan, you work on the transmission and
Yes.
Eversource?
Yes. That is what I do.
Is that your house or are you in your office?
No, I'm at work. I'm at Eversource right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wow.
What was that? I missed it.
All right, hold on.
Wow. Is that the state?
I don't know what I'm not seeing.
What
Yeah,
is
that's Connecticut and Western Mass.
Oh, is those outages or what?
That's all the substations we have for transmission.
Holy mackerel. Do we get any nuclear anymore?
Yeah. Millstone is still running.
My camera's not picking up the numbers out there.
Millstone, what, Millstone 2 and 3 are still running, Ryan?
Yes, I can actually show you. They're currently, let's see here.
Wow.
Right here, putting out about 200 megavar, about 2,000 megawatts.
2,000 megawatts?
Yep. Let's see, 870 from Unit 2 and 1229 from Unit 3.
Yeah, okay.
What percentage of the state's power is that?
Well,
Look at that. The blue?
Oh, it's only
orange.
22%.
and that's
the
of New
orange?
England, actually, though.
Yeah.
That's
That's
New
30%,
England
isn't
fuel
it?
mix.
Didn't we say it was about 30% of Connecticut or no?
I thought it was higher.
I could probably do math and figure it out, but I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay,
Ed.
all right. It's a sizable percentage. I mean, used to be 70.
I can
think,
find that
back
out pretty
then.
easily. Hold on. Let's see here. Load shed. So currently Connecticut's load, Convex's load, which does include Western Mass, is 4,735 megawatts, and 2,000 of it is coming from Millstone.
There you go, about half, yeah.
And so, and that's not UI's territory, right? Or-
That's Convex only, yeah. So that's only, well, that UI is included in that.
Okay.
Yep, I dispatch for them as well.
So you're the guy that's selling all this?
No, ISO New England does that.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't even heard of Convex. Is that?
Connecticut Valley Electric Exchange. We represent Eversource and Shell and UI and like every municipality, Wallingford, Groton Utilities. So we're not just Eversource, even though like mostly Eversource.
Wow, amazing.
Okay, well, I need a motion. So I can go through the
Motion.
game. Okay,
Close.
motion to adjourn by Ryan, seconded by Dan. All in favor? Aye.
Bye.
I got some work to do. I'm going to be sending emails to some of the people we talked about, but appreciate